GameWorn Radio is on the air.
Hey! Gentlemen, score! Up in the corner of a baby! We're going bowling! Now, let's go hunt moose on a Harley! The fires, he scores! LA face with an Oakland Mooney! Make me a bicycle cop! They score! Bowmeister! Pay that man his money!
GameWorn Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Derek, GameWorn Radio, part of GameWorn.us, and I'm here with Francis, Dan, Doc, Matt, and Marco, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Expo this weekend, maybe get some questions from Marco and Matt since they weren't there, but fortunately Francis, Dan, and Doc were. I tried to get Bobby to skip his hockey game, but apparently it looks like he is a little bit busy doing that, so it's going to be okay. I've got a good story about him, though. From the Expo, but
we have lots of good stories from the Expo.
Yeah, right.
Should we just break it down for the from Friday going forward? Just all the shit that went down Friday.
All right, who got into town first? You were there before me, so I took
got
off
in
from my
about
place
11.
on a 4-hour drive in the morning. You got there before I did.
Paul got there Thursday.
Yeah,
Yep,
they went
and
to the
a
Frozen
couple of them-
Tour.
Sure.
Bert got there Monday, but he was doing some work.
Yeah, he was there for work, and that was really cool to have him swinging and kind of like double up with that work. That was pretty awesome. But yeah,
And we had Brandon got into town mid-afternoon, I think, mid-late afternoon. Him from London, and
Yes.
along with his girlfriend, and then his mom came down from where, Michigan, or.
I think so.
But I thought that was pretty cool that his girlfriend and his mom hung out with us all weekend. They were super nice.
Oh yeah, totally. And
But-
it helped out a lot too, which is cool.
But Brandon got a heads
Definitely
up.
helped.
Oh yeah,
he
Brandon
got
got a
the-
heads up from who was it that texted him about the.
He never told me. He just said he
Was
he
it
knew
Alan?
about the.
Yeah, that Alan was on a flight coming from New York with a fantastic goalie.
Mike Richter.
Yes, Mike Richter said, hey, he's flying in Chicago to do this awards dinner thing for ESPN. Well, as anybody knows, Brandon is a huge Richter fan. That's his username on forums and all kinds of shit. So he went downtown to where the awards thing was and met him. Got to talk to him, showed him the goalie mask he had, all kinds of cool stuff. And I know Derek's going to post it soon. We actually did a podcast at 10 o'clock Friday night. You called me and said, hey, we got I'm picking up beer. Let's do a podcast in the suite. So set all the stuff up, and we did a podcast. Derek's got the audio now, so we can get it posted soon. But it was just meeting guys, and we hung out. I know a bunch of guys went to Chicago for pizza and stuff, and all of us just got together and BS'd, which was so much fun. Derek, I know you and I had some early fun too with Stu and a couple guys.
Oh, that was so awesome.
Oh, Stu is there? That's cool. Stu's a good guy.
Oh, dude, Stu brought some great stuff. Like
What do you think?
50-51 Red Wings How. He brought the WHA Arrows triple house that I asked him if he could bring, and he did, and brought the last Oilers Gretzky.
And we're all holding this stuff in the hotel room on Friday, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm looking at this picture online right now. I don't know if it's right now or not. I can't remember if Bobby said he was leaving out on Monday, but it's a picture of Bobby, Sean, Derek Christensen, Monica taken by Paul, of them sitting.
That's
having
Friday
a
night.
drink, saying that they're delayed at Midway, which is the airport, or one of the airports out there.
No. Paul's delayed at Midway today because of weather, and he found that picture. That was from Friday night.
Oh, that was from Friday night? Damn,
Yeah,
where the hell was I?
I don't know. Probably driving.
Shit.
That's they're delayed. Right, there was weather coming in Chicago, and their flight was like at 7 o'clock Chicago time. So, and the rain was coming. They probably got delayed because of that.
That sucks. Yeah, I mean, coming in wasn't too bad. Leaving kind of difficult. What sucks for me is, right after the expo, I hightailed it out to get back to home so I could get up to Detroit for the last game of the show. It was totally not planned at all. I was intending on going to some of the events after. But yeah, so what we had Friday night, everybody's chilling at the hotel, right? Some people went out to, there was it a Wolves game? No, it was a Milwaukee Admirals game.
Yeah, the Samoa to Milwaukee for Friday night's game. Yeah.
Yeah, you went out to that one, right?
No, I didn't get until Saturday morning. Tom went with Chris Jordina and Martin. Did Martin go up there? I think Martin went up there too. There's about 6 of them that went up to that game that I know of.
Yeah, I mean, the sweetest thing about the whole thing is, like, you come in for the expo, right? But there's so much stuff to do all the time, and there were so many people there that were, like, either staying in the hotel or staying close by, or, the locals were figuring out things to do, and everybody was carpooling and everything. It was just super awesome. I mean...
Yeah, you didn't have to do anything by yourself. No matter what you did, somebody was going with you. Yeah.
And dude, it's funny, like, some of my best memory, like, don't get me wrong, the expo was phenomenal and sweet and everything, and it seemed like it was way too fast. It was there and gone. But my favorite memory so far was getting back from, we went out to a pizza joint, got back to the hotel, and we walk in, and there's Bobby and Brandon's mom, girlfriend, fiance. I didn't really ask too much detail on that. People being together is fine. Francis was there, and Bobby's got his back to me, right? And, me and Bobby do this show when he can. We talk quite a bit on the phone, and I come up to him, I kick his chair as he's eating, and he turns around, sees it's me, and, like, jumps up and man hugs me. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. It's like, those are the moments that kind of make everything, like, it's totally about the people.
Just the energy Bobby had the entire weekend was off the charts. You could tell just how excited he was there, just taking it all in. And I mean, and this was his first expo. This was my first expo. I think we popped a lot of cherries.
Yeah.
So we popped a whole lot. And Dan, when you walked in, because I think the first time I saw you was at the expo itself.
Yeah, Tom picked me up. We went to the hotel to pick up Brendan, his mom, and his girlfriend, and then we went to the expo. And yeah, you were outside with your wife, and that's when we pulled up.
So can we talk about, like, Friday for a minute? Like,
yeah,
about I know we're gonna have I'll post our recording in Pete's Suite that we did on Friday, but man, just the sheer luck of Brandon and Richter, right? Like, how sweet is that?
That is, I mean, just the odds of that were freaking amazing.
So for those that didn't get to go or didn't get to hear the story and don't necessarily want to wait for us to post that Friday night event, so we go down to the pizza joint. It's like called Peace Pizza or something like that, right? And so I'm trying to get Joel to hit on this smoking hot waitress and embarrass himself, and he ain't biting. But we're eating pizza, whatever. We were about to get a table. Brandon's outside, and he's like, Mike Richter's about to go present this award. He's got the mask with him, like Mike Richter's mask, right? So he loads up into an Uber with his family, takes off, gets there, and we're like, he's either going to be back real quick and join us for pizza, or it's going to go well, and we aren't going to see him until he gets back to the hotel. So he goes, and we don't even see him again. And to be honest, we kind of forgot, like, that he might not come back. So we eat our pizza, pay our bill, take off, go back to the hotel, and there he is sitting there cheesing. And come to find out, Mike Richter's walking in, before the award, and he says, hey, I want to talk to you about this mask that I have real quick. When you're done, come find me. And
What?
yeah, Richter came and found Brandon after he presented his award, took him aside to like a secluded area and talked to him about the mask, and gave him a little bit of history about the paint job, and it was a practice mask, and we were experimenting with the practice masks paint job, but it didn't quite like the design didn't make it into the games or anything. And it's like the wildest story,
And if anybody that's listening is friends with Brendan on Facebook, his mom videotaped the whole thing too, as Richter's talking. So he shared out the whole video, and it's just amazing. I mean, as soon as we'd heard about it, it immediately went up, and so everybody was just going batshit.
Yeah,
we're what,
cool.
5 hours into the first night, and just something cool happened already.
And it's so random, like. Brandon's screen name for everything is RichterFan35. So, it definitely hit the right person. It's so crazy. And I think that's one of the cool things about how we kind of planned the whole thing, too. Is we did it around the Frozen Four, and, Mike Richter presents an award for college hockey. So, it really worked out.
Yes, it did.
Why could you guys not have convinced Richter to go to the show?
Brendan tried.
He tried. They tried to talk him into it. He had a flight out that morning. Otherwise, I bet we could have had a really good chance.
His son was playing hockey in some tournament or something. He had to get back to see him.
I bet he would. I bet he would have stopped in for a minute if he had the chance.
And I'm thinking too, like, if we do this every year, every couple years or whatever, and follow the Frozen Four round, if, maybe we plan a little bit better next time and get a little bit more PR or something, and maybe people start knowing about it or whatever, and we start to see a little bit more faces like that. We'll see.
The chances are, if we stay near the Frozen Fours, those bigger cities, the chances are that retired players live in those areas, and you might find a retired player to come over. Somebody might know somebody that lives in the area. Just a thought.
I don't know. From just a purely logistical aspect, planning it was just super hard. There was a lot of moving pieces to it. A lot of just parts that kind of had to mesh together, and I was nervous up to the last minute. We were like, because of the place that we had it and all the stuff, we had to have a certain spend to have the event there, and we figured that we could do it with the entries, but we couldn't. So really what saved us was the raffle tickets. But that was another super cool thing that we did, is we tried something new with the raffle. So we had the standard raffle that everybody does, where you draw a ticket and you just keep drawing for all the prizes that you have. But then we had that drop cup raffle. That was a ton of fun. Oh man, you put your ticket in the cup of the prize that you want to win, and they just draw from that cup. And that was so much fun.
Well, and both the regular raffle and the drop cup had a shit ton of great prizes. So it wasn't there wasn't garbage like stadium giveaways and that kind of crap. I know you had some of those off to the side too, but for the drop cup and for the regular raffle, both the prizes groups were fantastic.
Well, there was really something there for everyone. Even if you didn't win something good or something like one of the big prizes, it's still cool stuff to have. There wasn't really anything, and people were trading them too. Like, I want a grill, right? But I didn't have any space to take it back. Ended up trading it for a banner, and I kind of have this collection of banners going. Oh, and Matt, are you on right now?
Yeah, I'm here.
You want to ask Francis yourself?
Francis, I heard there was this raffle. Did you win a picture with Chris Gersina's wife?
Don't you start now, boy.
Yeah, I think everybody got a real good kick out of that picture.
Let me know if you're ever going to sell that one day, by the way.
That was a good picture.
Print it and have them sign it.
That was a good picture.
That was That was a good picture.
For you or her?
For both.
I love you, buddy.
I love you, man. I missed you. We missed you.
Well, we have a quick moment. You had another question too, right?
Yeah, I was just curious because when I looked up the flights and whatnot, and I live in BFE, so I was just curious if anyone can throw out some numbers of what it costs if they drove or if they flew with hotel and everything. Because for a flight out, I had to fly to Philadelphia and then back to Chicago, which made no sense, but I'm digressing already. So I was just curious as to what everyone had to pay, or just for future expos, if you guys have it out in Chicago or wherever, what it would be like, because this would be my only non-driving expo that I would probably go to.
Well,
So
can I chime?
I flew. I'll tell you mine whenever.
I drove in. So I drove out the night before or the morning before, so I could get there because I knew everybody was going to be chilling and whatnot. My hotel was $145 a night plus taxes and shit. So about for the 2 days I was there, it's $300, and then I spent maybe $30 in gas, $20 in tolls. It wasn't too bad, and then just random food and stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't go to any of the games, but we got lucky and we got a lot of people hooked up with free tickets to like the Wolves game.
Yeah, the Wolves are free both nights.
I know the guys were scalping tickets or getting them off of scalpers for the Frozen Four.
They got them for $150 for Saturday night.
Yeah, didn't you guys get like super close seats too?
I didn't go. Bobby went though, and Bobby told me what they got
Yeah,
it for.
I
I
was
went.
looking at the pictures and they look super close.
They're fifth row. They were
Oh
fifth
my
row off the
God.
glass. I went to the Wolves game because it was comp tickets.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
driving wasn't too bad. The hardest part about driving was just the time. So if you planned appropriately and you are okay with driving, it's not that bad. For me, it was 4 hours. I've driven down to the Migra Expo from where I live, and that was like 7 or 8 hours. I probably wouldn't drive anywhere beyond 8 hours, but I would probably drive up to 8 hours.
For me, driving is from Norfolk is like 16 hours. So I flew because United's got direct flights from Norfolk to Chicago.
Unless you get dragged off of them.
Yeah, my flight was I think $325, and then I had to pay $25 for the bag, and they how they charge and everything like that. I split a room with Bobby, so we had a room for 3 nights, and then the cost of the table, and the registration fee, and then some people drove, so got rides with people, but Uber was available. I know Bobby took Uber. They took the train and stuff like that. So there was a couple people with cars, and where was that? You kind of take Uber where you needed to go, and people took the train into the city.
I think the big thing to keep in mind is like we planned this around like a ton of different events, and it worked out really well. So you kind of make a weekend of it. So we've been planning this for a year. So I know a lot of the guys that were super interested in going. Like we're stocking away money or selling whatever they need to do to make the trip, or at least the ones that were gung ho about it. We've been, a year is a long time to know about something. So we try to give people as much lead time as possible, but I mean the objective is to give you a weekend of something to do, bring you in for more than just the expo. It's just a lot more fun if there's more shit to do. Like the games are huge. Going to the games are huge with the other collectors. When I went to the Toledo show a few years ago that Francis was at, I was actually a season ticket holder at the time, but I sat with them. It was a blast. Got them down with my season ticket holder status, whatever, to get autographs from the players that they wanted to see, and then we went and got some dive pizza. It was sweet. So, yeah, I mean, it's about the other things too. So the expo is a big part of it, but everything else just adds to it. Like you make a weekend of it. It's like a mini vacation in your life. You know what I'm saying?
And it was funny because Friday night, like I said, you were on your way back, Derek, and shot me a message. I was in my room, I chilling out for a little bit, having a made me a nice alcoholic beverage, and you're like, "Hey, we're gonna podcast when we get back in the suite." So one of the guys had a suite, so we had, what do we have? 15 people in the suite. Me, you, and sitting on the floor with the rigging for doing the podcast, and brought different people on. Brought Bobby in for a little bit. I think Francis, did you do a little bit? I know several people did. All jumped on the mics to share stories, or just all the jerseys that were being shown in the room we were in Friday night.
No, it was like the show before the show.
Yes.
Can I chime in real quick?
Yeah, man.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Well, next, we were talking about the cost and stuff. I got a rental car, and I got an upgrade to a Dodge Journey for $208 for a week. And then I split the table with Scott, and I stayed at his house, which is, that helps a lot. But next time, if another show happens in maybe Chicago or Detroit, why don't we ride together like we did to Boston? I don't mind.
All right, I'm down.
Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people are there. They can help split the cost. So we had a couple people with minivans. We were carpooling, which cut down on costs of taxis or Ubers or anything like that. Nobody took me up on it, but I had a spare bed in my room. I got a double just in case somebody just showed up at last minute and wanted to split the cost.
Pick you up on that.
You could have came in, man. You could have came in. You would have had a room.
Fuck.
Dummy.
Matt, you could drive down from your house. You could stay at my house. And then we could go to the show, and then when you come back, so we won't be so tired, you could stay here and then drive home the next day.
The thing is, these things are so much damn fun.
All right.
Like, scour and find a way to make it happen, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, like, you should have. I'm just saying in the future, like, try to go out of your way to get to one of these. Like, they're so incredibly fun, and just, you cannot formulate into words how incredibly awesome it is to just meet somebody for the first time, like, in real life, and have an insane instant connection with them. Like, me and Bobby never met, but damn, dude, it was like just awesome to see each other in person. I saw Dan before, so I was just like, "What's up, Ugly?"
Yeah. What up, Ugly?
And it was good to see Tom. I mean, just the guys from the show, dude, and Jason. Holy shit, dude! I was cheesing when I met you, man. It was great.
It's just like you said, we make these connections, but even with Skype video and all that shit, but till you get in the same room, I can really just bullshit and just have a good time. And I know you were stressed and trying to make sure it was a great event, and a lot of us tried to help take some of that off of you. And I think you, and Chris's wife, and I'm sorry I forget her name all of a sudden, had a ball.
Francis knows it.
Yes, he does. Had a ball doing the raffle drawings and stuff up front. But it was just I could tell everybody was there having a good time, even if they didn't make deals. It was just so much fun to just bullshit, because people were wearing different jerseys. They were asking about the stories with those, or what people had in their collection. I was able to bring back into my collection a Dallas Drake jersey with the C on it that I bought from My Gray years ago from KO out of Chicago, and just those kind of things. I didn't expect to find that there, but just had such a good time. Even if I didn't make any deals at all or do anything, just being around everybody was such a great amount of fun.
Well, here's again, you just can't put it into words, but a lot of people don't know that some people. Well, it's sometimes it's not as publicly known how many people might have a problem with somebody else, and some people might say, I don't want to go because this other person is going, but we had people there that don't necessarily care for each other, and everybody was super cordial. It was like crazy impressive. Like,
There's
we had
enough
people in one hotel room that I know for a fact just simply don't like each other, and they were like engaging and talking to each other, and
in the same hotel room.
They were learning from each other. That's the cool part. They were learning from each other.
Well, the other thing was there's so many people. There was enough people there that when you were walking in the room, I still didn't meet everybody. you could literally talk to people and like next thing you know, it was 3 o'clock. You're like, we're done. So even if you didn't like somebody, you could easily turn your attention to somebody else and not even be bothered with it.
No, I wish I
If
could
that
go
was
to
your
the
choice.
expo like 3 times in a row just so I could have a chance to talk to more people. That is my biggest regret, is how many people I didn't get a chance to have like a nice long conversation with while I was there.
Did you see that gentleman come in and put the duffel bag on the floor and he pulled out a Rod Langway rookie from '77?
I did not. You tell me about it now.
How cool is that? I mean, that's what you see at shows. A guy brought in a duffel bag and pulled up like a WHA, LA Sharks, and a '77 Rod Langway Wilson. I mean, in a duffel bag. I mean, how cool is that?
And
Guys,
that was another thing, is like we had this expo in Chicago, right? But there was so much stuff, just broad ranges of stuff there.
Were there a lot of collectors that like people hadn't really engaged with a lot, like a lot of behind the scenes guys, or no?
There were a lot of people there that you don't necessarily see posting anywhere right now, or at least they don't stand out. You know, they might chime in here and there once or twice, but you don't quite see a lot of them. You know, we don't get to see Brian Rogers post much in any of the groups or anything, but he's from Detroit Hockey Company, and he brought an awesome display. He brought a lot of stuff. It was great.
What
Well,
was
and
the coolest jersey that people saw?
That's probably your own opinion.
Yeah.
It has a lot.
It depends
There'd
on
be a
what you're
long
into.
list.
I
Well,
think
that's what I was like hoping to hear. Everybody have a different opinion.
I saw the Gordie Howe Red Wings one because, that was cool. I think that was really cool to see that one. Because of the oldness and it's Gordie Howe.
But did you
So.
touch it?
No, I was scared to touch those ones. I walked by him. I was like, I didn't want to take the chance of doing anything to it. I was like, oh, that is sweet. I just kept right on going.
Jason,
You
you got
should've
those
heard-
pictures, right?
Yep, I'll
Yeah,
I'll
you
have
need to
to.
send those to me, man. Me and Jason
I-
have pictures of us holding up the Howe and the Gretzky.
I mean, just out like it's no big deal. Hey, here, check these out. And I mean, it's just getting to be in the same room and getting to lay your hands on this NHL history is amazing. Pete had a great one. It was it 60-61 Blackhawks jersey, and I all of a sudden I'm blanking out on who it was. But he bought it out like at a estate sale or something and photo matched it to the team photo because of how the numbers on the sleeves were stitched on. I mean, seeing so many of the sweaters in different people's collections.
Oh, that reminds me. The was it? Did Stu say it was the first year Red Wing jersey ever?
Yeah, which one was that one?
I didn't catch the name of the player. I don't even recall if he knew, but he knew it was like a first year Red Wing jersey. Like, that was incredible.
Yeah, had the 1980 Olympic Ken Morrow jersey there.
Yep, that was a cool one.
I mean, it was just a lot of when people showed up as they're setting up their things, jerseys that you just hadn't seen out in the public anywhere because not everybody posts their pictures to be able to see even just the going into some of the newer stuff, the Jonathan Taves with the Triple W patch and the Stanley Cup final patches on some, and Ben Bishop and the Steven Stamkos's Stanley Cup Finals jersey. And I think Stamkos was photo matched to the handshake at the end, and
Yes, yeah.
and some of the stories of just how people have come across the jerseys. Because say Pete shared one about finding that Chicago jersey at an estate sale, and it was the only hockey piece there. There was tons of some other sports jerseys, maybe it was baseball or something, but that one a hockey jersey was there. But I mean, I had never. I think I'd maybe seen Kurt Ogden post occasionally, but really connected with him, and I know I want to make some more deals with him in the future.
Fuck, that reminds me. I gotta pay him. Here's another dope thing about the expo, right? So I'm standing there talking to somebody, and Kurt was like hanging around. I didn't realize he was there because I was like, I get fixated and focused on something, right? So I'm in my conversation. Next thing you know, I overhear him say, "Man, I wish I knew a Red Wings collector so I could sell this to them." And I was like, huh? What is it? I'm a Red Wings collector. and he shows me the jersey. It's a game issue jersey, but it's a 95 Stanley Cup Finals patch jersey. I can't even remember the player because I didn't even care at that point because it was a 95 Stanley Cup patch jersey. So
I've only ever seen one.
For it? He gave me a price, and I said sold. And this is how the deal completed. He's like, well, I got this practice jersey too. Do you want it? And I'm like, sure. How much do you want for it? He's like, just take it. We'll figure it out later. And I didn't have cash for it on me at that point. I was just like, can I PayPal you on Monday? He's like, yeah. And that's that. So I gotta get how much I owe him for the practice jersey, and then I'm gonna PayPal him the money. I forgot to do it today, so if you're listening, Kurt, I'm gonna get that, and we'll get squared up here soon. But it's cool things like that. Like, you can meet people, you can trust them. I took jerseys without paying for them. He knows I'm gonna pay him, but that's cool. I mean, you have that mutual respect, that mutual understanding, and the trust. And a lot of it's meeting the people that you can have that trust with for the first time ever. I've never met Kurt before. At least I don't remember. I might have. Fuck, dude. There's just so many good people in this hobby, and me, I'm a little bit on the scatterbrain side, but there's just too many good people in the hobby that I can't even keep them all straight. They have to have something that, like, there's something about this hobby, man, that just makes people good. I mean, some people are bad, of course, but I think when we all get in the same room, we all get in that mode. We're all good people. It was, again, you cannot put into words the experience. Like, it's completely different. It's cool to have all this shit online. It's cool to post online and do all that. It's so different in real life. I wish Bobby was on, because it wasn't even the Expo, and you thought his entire weekend was made just meeting people on Friday. That's how sweet stuff like this is.
And that's because I posted this in some of the blues pages this morning, all the different pictures and stuff, and everybody's like, when is this? When's it going on? When's the next one? Where is it? I'm like, I'll let you know and find out. But I'm like, it's not just one team. I mean, there's stuff spread out all over the place. Seeing Derek Christensen's collection of the is it Western Michigan people he collects. Just it's neat seeing some of the, I don't want to say oddball collections, but the very specific focuses some people have, and the variety of players that are under that focus.
Well, and like, dude, Derek Christensen, he always manufactures stuff for his display, and this year was no different. He had like an elevated rack, he built like an elevated rack on the table to hang stuff from. Like,
I saw that. It was
he
so
always
cool.
just displays,
that really popped out.
Yeah, he always comes up with like the most simple ways to have an outstanding display of stuff. It's incredible.
Well, and two outside groups for some thank yous too is you working with the Syracuse Crunch, they sent you a ton of stuff to bring, and Derek working with the Chicago Wolves, and the jerseys he's able to bring for that. All that money going to their charity. I know he moved several jerseys in that, and he was going to post the rest of them this week. But having those kind of opportunities, letting some of the teams know, hey, this is going on. Would you mind letting us willing to bring some and sell for you? And it seemed to work pretty well.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of people were really interested in those Chicago Wolves jerseys because they had year ones. I mean, they were bringing stuff out from the Wayback Machine.
I think it's important to discuss that, people go online and post in the Facebook groups, and there's always, issues that happen and whatnot, but that isn't really the hobby. And when you meet people, things can change because there's no tone in those text messages or what you post online. And I know I'm very adamant about autographs, and I hate seeing them. But on the same token, I'm just passionate about it. If somebody really wants it, I don't have a problem with it. I just try to dissuade them from getting it. And I hope that never comes across as me being an asshole or anything like that. That's never my goal, but I think meeting somebody in person, your whole view of them can change.
Oh, that's funny you say that. So Stu from my grade, we were bullshitting in him and Sean's room in the hotel on Friday, and he had mentioned that he listens to the radio show, and he called. I don't know who. He didn't really call out somebody specific, but he called the radio show out, saying, some people get turned off for the fact that we say things that might offend them. And he wasn't offended, but he mentioned like an instance in which he was. You know what? It probably was motherfucking you, Marco, that said that shit. Because he was talking about, and I couldn't even recall the episode, but it was the
winner or the World Cup auction.
Yeah, the $2,700 for Gossespear, right? So somebody said that whoever paid $2,700 for the Gossespear was an idiot. And Stu's like, well, I'm the idiot, or whatever. And I was like, I hope people don't take to heart or, like, take personally anything that I say. Like,
Yeah.
I have opinions, and I totally respect people having their own. Like, for me, it's just the way I feel. And everybody has the right to feel a specific way. And I was talking to Stu, like, I wrote an article the one year that Stephen Brooks screwed me out. I shouldn't say screwed me out, but purchased those Glendenning jerseys. I wrote the article, and I was like, I already know it's not going to be there, so should I even stay because I came here for something, and I know I'm not going to get it, so what's the point in staying? And some people took of it like I felt like I was entitled, right? But it was more or less just like, here's the situation, here's what I feel. And I hope people listening to the show understand that if you have a conflicting opinion, we totally respect that. I love conflicting opinions, and hold it to your guns. And if you want to talk about it, come on the show and talk about it. Like, that's what this entire thing is about. It's the platform to just talk and bullshit. Tell people how you feel. Stand up for yourself. If you feel you need to stand up for yourself, whatever. What was I talking about? Oh. But yeah, so the rest of the weekend, the whole $2,700 Gossespear, we just made a joke of it, and I think Stu had a good time. and
we pump my Gray's tires just as much as we bring them back down to earth. So
yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is all just in good fun. We're not deliberately trying to piss people off or make them not like us. But I just thought that was funny. He mentioned it so nonchalant, like I'm the $2,700 Gossespear asshole, and I just ran with it like the whole weekend. Like anytime I could, I was just like, oh, like a $2,700 Gossespear. I couldn't for the life of me figure out who said it.
And I mean, I've worked with Stu over the years when I had bought stuff from My Gray, especially when they had the blues, and he was just so fun to sit back and listen to stories and stuff he's done with the flyers and different things. And I know, Dan, I know wherever we have it next year, I know you said you want to bring your daughter. My wife came along. She had a blast meeting everybody and getting to see stuff, and just I mean, it was a lot of fun. I was happy to see a fair number of women there, because this isn't just a guy's hobby, and I think that helped a lot too. But just everybody, I don't think anybody, if anybody didn't have a good time, it was their own damn fault.
Oh,
True.
no.
True.
Well, guys, I just got home from 11 and a half hours, so I'm going to cut a little short, all right?
All right, take it easy, Francis. Thanks for coming out, man.
See you,
man.
Francis.
Yep, thanks for everything, and I'll be on again. Don't worry.
See you, bro.
All right, guys. See you all.
Yeah, Frank.
Yep.
So something that threw me for a loop at the expo was somebody said that I looked surprisingly thinner than what they were expecting based on what they see from the show. I was like,
well, they said the camera adds 10 pounds.
yeah, that's
Derek.
exactly what he said. He said the camera adds like 10 pounds or whatever, and I was not expecting you to be like this shape. And I'm like, do I look like a big guy?
It's the beard.
It might be the beard.
Yeah, beard.
Well,
I think there's a Gaza spirit in there.
There might be. I'll just pull it out.
The other one that threw me for a loop is Tom. Jesus Christ, he's tall.
Yeah, he almost choke slammed me outside. I was giving him shit about his wrestling. He brought his wrestling singlet. I couldn't get him into it, and so I started like pulling fake wrestling moves on him. I was like, rock bottom, and I grabbed him. He's like, you're even doing it wrong. And then he's like, we were outside of Derek Christensen's apartment, and he like comes up to me like he's gonna choke slam me. And I'm like, what? Because you see this big fucking paw, right? It seriously looks like a baseball mitt coming at you to just fucking come down on you. Yeah, I'm gonna jump. You're a massive fucking dude. I wouldn't fuck with you on the street.
And I see how he can pass for a Russian type wrestler with how he looks.
Oh no shit.
I mean, but you know what? I think it's awesome he does that. I think that's very cool. But yeah, it just threw me for a loop when he walked in. I heard that voice. I'm like, holy shit, you're big. God, what else? Just the last minute auction stuff was cool. Because Derek Christensen donated a Chicago Wolves practice jersey for the regular raffle at the last minute. Threw that in there. I ended up lucky enough to win that. And then who was it that donated the Chicago Blackhawks jersey?
Yeah, Scuderi. Was it Scuderi?
Yeah, it was a game issue.
That was such a surprise. Oh yeah, I mean, massive surprise come out of that, right? So Joe comes up to me. Joe. I always hack his last name, to be honest. It's Simzak. You guys have seen him. He sells works on selling all the Blackhawk stuff. I just know him as Joe S. because I never try to say his last name because SZY, I believe. Like, I can't make that sound in my head. But he comes
Sizak?
Something like that, yeah. I know him. I talk to him frequently. I've never asked him for his pronunciation because that's the thing with the internet. Like, when you see somebody's name, you make up your own pronunciation of it until you actually talk to them and you're like, how do you say your name? And then most of the time you don't even have to because it's just Joe. It's Chicago Joe. But yeah, he came up with that Scuderi and was like, hey, this is for the raffle. I was like, I want that. Do you mind if we do it this other way? So we auctioned it off. I didn't even win it, but I wanted it. It was so sweet. But like random surprises like that, like we were just going with the flow. It was cool. Like, and you wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to have that random awesome thing happen if you didn't go to the thing. And that's another reason why I wanted somebody there to make sure they got it.
I thought it was a lot of fun. So,
hey, there's Tom.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think, honestly, I don't think there's anything you could do different. I didn't know what to think about the space. I mean, when you post the picture at a time, how it would all shake out. But once everybody got in there, we got unloading went pretty quick. Parking really wasn't too bad. Things really seemed to go smooth. People got set up, and it was, I don't want to say it was tight. I mean, it was a comfortable space, but nobody had issues displaying their stuff. I didn't see or hear any bitching about any of that.
I think it's better for it to look full than it is. You're more full than more empty, right?
Sure.
God, we were full, man. We were full.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to take a moment to call out Greg Tomio. I think that's how you say his name. Again, I've never asked him how to pronounce his last name. But he bought a Rod Brind'Amour patched Gossip Spare on an online auction. What a terrible purchase. Just kidding, Greg. He posted on the thing, so I had to make a comment about it. But
No,
yeah,
one thing I know.
it was full. Like, we couldn't have fit another person's table in there. I mean, and the tables were already smaller than what I thought they were. I was really happy that nobody was too upset because I said they were 8-foot tables. I think we got like sixers.
No, everybody seemed to fit their stuff okay. I mean, and adjusted it, made it work. Nobody.
The racks helped that you were up too.
That worked out with me being only 2.5 hours away, and I know Bobby ended up using one to clear some space on the table for who he was kind of sharing some space with, and that worked out. And then my wife, inventive as she was, I decided I wanted to, because we one of the racks I brought was empty. I'm like, you know what? I'll hang up all my stuff. I didn't think to bring hangers. I was going to show stuff out of my bag. Old Navy's around the corner, so she went over there and said, "Hey, can I buy some hangers from you guys?" Like, "Oh yeah, we just throw them away." Brought back 2 bags the first time. Between Bobby and I, we got all our stuff hung up and needed some more. She went back over there, made another trip, and brought a whole other bag of hangers back. So if anybody that needed to hang up their stuff, they could.
Does she listen to the show at all?
She listens to me rambling from the other room.
All right, well,
But
I need to send you some money. Can you get her some flowers for me?
I suppose I can do that. You don't have to do that though.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you some money and make up like a nice card or something, because she was just a absolute godsend for me, man. She was my rock that day.
And I told you she helps. She does a phenomenal job of helping me run our charity hockey game and stuff every year. And that's her thing. You get her, say, hey, I need help with this, and she organizes it and does it and all that kind of great stuff. And she loves it. I mean, one of the things that we talked about on the drive home, she loved everybody coming in the door, getting to meet people, find out where they're from, just learn who they are right off the start.
Yeah, man, I honestly do not know what I would have done without her. I probably would have been absolutely freaking miserable. Like, that was a lot of work, and she took it all off my shoulders. It was amazing. I cannot thank her enough.
Who had the farthest drive, by the way? Or who traveled the farthest to get there?
That would be the guys from, I don't know, Germany or London would be the farthest.
Germany's farther away.
Germany's farther?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I talked to Nicholas some yesterday. They went down to the Blues game in St. Louis after leaving the show, and so Jesus Christ, because didn't they land in Canada and then drive down to Chicago?
I did not catch that story.
I think that's what they were doing. I thought that they had landed either was in the U.S. or in Canada, drove all over the place, and then came down to Chicago and ended up going to the game yesterday in St. Louis.
They did say that they planned their entire trip around the Expo.
Yes. And Nicholas actually sent me a picture. I'll forward it to you guys from St. Louis, where he's sitting in the very last row with an Avalanche T-shirt on, but a paper bag over his head. He told me when I talked to him on Saturday he was going to do that, and I thought that was hilarious.
That's awesome. No, I think Sean Broderick might actually get that prize, because I think he came out of West Germany.
There's just one Germany now. There's not an East and a West. You need to
the west side of Germany. I mean, there's no South Toledo, but we still say South Toledo.
Nobody talks about Toledo, period.
That's what the gangs are.
I bet you say Holy Toledo.
No, I usually say holy shit, but whatever.
I say Cincinnati chili.
Haters
That's
are
like
in full force tonight.
It's just fun. I mean, I just still coming off a high from the weekend because it was such a good time, and being in so many of us being in our element. I mean, Jesus Christ, I live in Central Illinois. There's not too many hockey jersey collectors around right in this immediate area that I can hang out with, and it was just all the storytelling and those kind of things that just made it so much fun.
And again, it every single time you have to go back to the people. Like, the expo is there. It's cool. It's cool to see all the jerseys and come together for a reason, but it comes down to the people. Like, Bobby's already was talking on Friday, like, I'm already having an amazing time. We got to schedule another one and do this. Like, oh, man. And I love absolutely every single second of it. I wish I would have had more time to talk to more people.
I feel bad that I've never spoken to any of you guys in person other than Derek, and it was like, I don't know, 40, not even 30 minutes probably at the Migrate Expo the one year. And I think he can, for anyone that hasn't been to the Migrate Expo, it's a different expo compared to what yours is. And I don't need to be at yours to know it, but there's the grab bag and there's all these people there. And then all of a sudden the grab bag's over and they disappear like cockroaches in light. And I don't know where they go, but they're not there anymore. And you feel like you're missing out. And your expo, Francis's, some of the other ones are just that special because everyone is still talking. And it's not like a lottery and like, oh, it's over. I don't need to stay here anymore.
Well, I think
No, it was an
and I
event,
talked
man.
to Stu a little bit about that too, and one of we were a little bit daring on this one, and we didn't know how exactly it would play out or how people would feel about it, but we did food at it and we did alcohol, and that's just it was something a little bit newer, and we ran the alcohol, pretty late, so I think maybe that might be part of the reason why people stayed, and they didn't have to leave to go get food, so it was always packed the whole time. But one of the things that we couldn't pull off was getting like a pro to come or anything, and or having a speaker or anything like that. So the dynamic is definitely a little bit different between the two. Because I mean, I went the year that they had Mike Bossy, and just the Q&A that he had, and he was just such a down to earth guy. It was really cool. But you're right. Felt different. And that's not a bad thing. Definitely, and I think that's another thing. Like, I haven't been to the Nova one, and I want to go.
Well, you're missing out.
Oh, I already know. For me, it wasn't in the cards this year, because of my younger son. He's less than 2 years old, but I'm hoping I'm gonna be able to either get it out there, this upcoming one or next. I think you should try to hit every single one that you can. This one's kind of it was a pop-up, and we weren't sure how it was going to work out. I mean, shit, I thought I was going to end up having to pay out like $1,000 out of pocket just to host this thing. But I think we got pretty close. I haven't tallied anything yet, so we might have some money to give out to charity and whatnot. But we keep talking about the experiences and the people, but you get the differences in the places that you go. So plan out one to go to the Migrate, plan out one to go to the Nova, and then when you see these little pop-up ones come up, see what you can do to make it happen. The more lead time, the better. I don't know. I know everybody really wants us to try and start planning another one, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of discussions on it, pros and cons, and this and that. The pop-up ones are tough because people don't necessarily expect it, and in this day and age of Facebook flood, it's hard to always get information out to everybody. Like, I was really surprised with how many people didn't actually know that this one was going on until late last minute and such. But like the nice thing with the recurring ones is when it is, because it's the same time all the time, or at least right around that area, and where every time. And like these Frozen 4 ones, we don't necessarily know ahead of time. And this was just a pop-up. It was a great excuse to have one.
Well, and I guess that's one of the questions, because I was kind of running things through my mind over the last couple of days. I think your idea is absolutely fantastic with following the Frozen 4 around, but does it make sense there, or does continuing to do one in Chicago work, where we have the ties with the Chicago Wolves and some other things, where you can, a lot of people I noticed talking to them, they liked it because it was such a central location and so easy to fly into. Some of the other places, and I know the Frozen 4 does all big cities, so it's not a huge thing, but do you think you may have different people circle that because of depending on where it goes?
It could be. Like, for me, the hardest part, and I think a lot of people had concerns of the venue that we chose. I went out there probably like 6 or 7 months prior. No, I went out at the beginning of the hockey season to go check out the venue and make sure it was what we were looking for. I would say the cost, like, we were trying to keep costs for people attending really low, and the idea was if we needed to make up for the raffle, which thank God that actually happened. People got really excited about the raffle when they got there, especially with the drop cups. I didn't know how the drop cup was going to go because we have never done it, and the tickets were only $1 put in the cup, so I didn't know how much would be generated from that, but that definitely helped cover the costs. And that's really the big concern, is just making sure the costs are covered, because they're not cheap to put on by any means, and we're charging $30 for people to walk in the door, and it costs us this time around almost $50 per head that we had there. So really where we're offsetting our costs were with people that got tables and with the raffle. So the raffle is what saved my ass, because mine was on the line.
Well, and we can build off that if that's the quote unquote business model you want to use. There's ways to build off that, and yeah, the drop cup, Jesus. I mean, I watched people, and I think it was fantastic, drop good amount of money on those tickets, and some people threw all their tickets in one thing, or others spread them out. And
Yeah.
I mean, everything at least got 2 tickets, as we know with the shin guards.
Oh, the shin guards, man, that was so funny. 2 tickets in that cup. I mean, I was happy to see more than one. I didn't really care, but I mean, still, that's funny. 2 tickets, and then we had the other cup that was like almost to the brim. We almost had to bust out another cup.
And that that was for the
That was the Bulls jersey.
Yep. And and the guy that won the shin guards, he was all excited because he was gonna wear them.
Yeah, yeah. Logan Couture shin guards, and he was just like, I picked them up, put them on my legs, and they were good, so I wanted them. It was a good time. But yeah, I mean, that's just a little bit of the logistics that go behind setting some stuff up. So for everybody else that, you know, does it, like Francis, I wish he was still on so I could give him his mad props that he deserves, because, you know, it was the first one that I did, and, you know, Derek and Paul kind of talked me into it, and it is a lot of hard work. So mad props to Migrate, mad props to Francis, the guys that do it at the Toledo one. That would be Larry and Dan. Anybody who puts these on, just mad props, because wow, it is a stressful time for anybody who's organizing it. There's so many like unknowns and things that you're unsure of. Like I was saying, you know, I was nervous as hell up until the point that we did the raffle drawing, you know. So just anybody who, and thank you to anybody who attends them. I mean, you guys, the people that go are the reason why everybody goes to put these things on and try to get everybody together, and the support. I mean, that's what it is, supporting these shows so they can continue to happen. Because if the support's not there, then they stop happening. Then we stop having opportunities to meet other people, because it's cool to, like, if you're happen to be in the area, meet up with a couple collectors, but getting a crap ton of us together in one place logistically without, you know, an expo to go to is just impossible. It doesn't happen, and these are great excuses just to see everybody.
Yep.
Agreed.
I mean, not much more you can say. I mean, there was so much to do. You made a weekend out of it, whether you're there 2 days, 3 days. If you were there one day, Doc, you drove in there for a couple hours. I guess you could do that. But
well, I got there Friday night, or Friday early, and then I wasn't feeling the greatest by the time we got done. I got some issues with my neck, and I'm like, as much as I wanted to go out to the Wolves game or something, I was just spent. I mean, I was home by 8 o'clock, and
we were spent. I mean, we were spent with the day, but it's a 2 day trip. You know, when you drive.
Oh, sure.
Tom and I were at the Wolves game Saturday night, and we were sitting there like in the first 2 periods. Like, I think we almost fell asleep because we were just whipped. It was a long day, and you're sitting there, we're like, oh my God, man, is this game taking forever? And then the third period picked up when the Wolves came back, and we got our second wind and everything. But we were both looking at each other like, I think I'm going to fall asleep right here, because the high of the show, and then you crash, you know, and that's how good the show was. That's how fun it was. And too bad we had to break it down and leave. Too bad we couldn't have figured out where we could just kept going, you know.
Well, if you think about it, you have the pre-show, then you have the show, then you have the after show, and those are all kind of like their own events. And some of the Chicago guys even knew how that can be. They are from Chicago, they're from the area, and they got rooms at the hotel because they knew everybody was getting rooms at the hotel, and it just makes it that much easier to like go kick it with people and then go back to the room, crash, and wake up the next morning. So they didn't have to do that, and it cost them, you know, it was a little bit of extra money, but it's the pre-show, the show, and the after show. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's a 3-segment thing.
Yep.
And just can't thank all the local guys enough for all the hospitality they gave us with showing us different things, or we had lunch with Pete. I mean, just all kinds of things. The local guys really helped out, and I mean, but Derek, I mean, you had the idea, you put it together, and again, phenomenal job. If anybody, like I said, if anybody didn't have fun, it's their own damn fault.
No doubt. Well, that's going to be it for our show. Thank you guys for joining. Everybody who came to the expo, it was so much fun. Thank you for coming. I'm sure there will be talks about everybody trying to convince us to do another one somewhere, somehow, some way, shape, or form. But any of your organizers out there, I mean, give them a mad prop. Even if you didn't go to a show, if you heard about it and you thought it sounded like a good time, let them know that it was so much fun, because without these things, we don't have experiences like this. Alright guys, feel free to stay on after the call. I might have a few extra minutes, but for all you guys out there listening, thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the upswing.